might be one of the most life-changing fantasy series I have ever read. I would read about them eating breakfast and going on a hot girl walk and realizing that she is more beautiful to him than any flower. I mean, what is that? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For this video, we're gonna have a fun fantasy reading week. That is my bread and butter, that's my favorite thing. And I decided I deserve it because I'm coming off of quite an ambitious reading week. I just barely finished The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I did vlog all of it in this video if you want to watch that. As for this video, we're going to be doing some rereads of books that I love. I'm going to be hiking, spending a lot of time in nature. I'm hoping that this will just be a comforting, fun, fantasy-centric type of video. I'm planning on doing one eyeball read and one audiobook hybrid read. So for the audiobook, I'm going to be listening to Tales from the Shadowhunters Academy. I think this is book 13 of my Shadowhunters reread. It might be 14. I have not read this since 2021 and I loved it back then, so I'm really excited to revisit it. I remember that it was painful and that I also loved it. This is one of those Cassandra Clare books where she takes a theme and then writes a lot of novellas that center around that theme but includes characters all throughout time, and she masterfully pushes us towards a greater message or a future plot point with one of her trilogies. I'm so excited. And I will also be reading Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This is in my top 3 fantasy series of all time. I love the female main character. I love the male main character. This is everything you could want from an adult high fantasy. It has badass characters who also feel their feelings and they're so soft and gentle but so powerful. It has fae, it has war, it has insane twists and turns. The setting is gorgeous. The magic system is elemental magic. Just a heads up, I do not recommend the audiobook for this. It's giving Barbie villain to me. In fact, one of my best friends started reading this and she's like, I'm just not really liking it. I don't know. And I said, are you listening to the audiobook? You gotta stop. You gotta eyeball read this one because somehow it just does not fit, I don't think. And so then she started reading it and she loved the series. Not only are we going on some fictional adventures, but we're gonna have some real adventures, which means we're gonna go on some hikes. Hello everyone, it is now Sunday morning over here. I'm having the loveliest weekend, honestly. You've just seen clips from a hike we went on yesterday. I came home, cleaned the whole house. Now it's the next day, Connor's golfing 18 holes and I have the house to myself. Bliss. And I hope wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, whatever day it is, that you are doing well. And if not, girl, go treat yourself. Get yourself a little sweet treat, a drink, a matcha, whatever it is, because you deserve the world. With a reread, I never know if it's gonna give me twice the amount of dopamine or half the amount of dopamine as the first time I read the book. It always goes one way or the other. Sometimes I pick up a book that I've already read and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a chore to finish it, but I still like it. And sometimes it hits harder than it ever has and rewires my brain chemistry and I like it even more. Both of these books are in the second category. I don't know what's happening. Granted, it's been almost 6 years since I read this one, so I forgot most of it, so it kind of feels like I'm reading it for the first time. But I just reread this book last summer, I think, and it was kind of like a 50% dopamine situation, but this time it's the opposite. This is why I always want to reread books over and over, because I have a different experience every time, because I'm a different person every time. We're constantly changing and the input of what we take from stories is changing. Let's start with Daughter of No Worlds. Tasana has been a slave for 8 years and she has been working relentlessly that entire time to try to free herself because she wants to go across the sea to the Orders, which is a magic wielding organization. She wants to hone her magic and also use their help to come back and rescue all of the other slaves. The first 50 pages of this book are gripping. It's so action-packed. Well, the writing remains extremely warm and poetic, so that's quite an interesting contrast. I will say the pacing of this series can be a little bit of a roller coaster. It starts fast and then it slows way down. We enter kind of a mentor, trainer, trainee sequence. I don't mind because the characters have my whole heart. I would read about them eating breakfast and going on a hot girl walk. That's not to say there isn't action, because I think this entire series has bursts of action and war, but then there's a lot of calmer moments too. It's kind of just true to real life, honestly. Like, there's days where everything feels like Groundhog Day and they do their same routine and she practices her training, and then they go to battle and do a fight and it's epic and crazy. And so I do think it reflects reality in a way. Not my reality, sadly. I wish I had magic powers and could train with a hot, sensitive man who loves to garden. Cassandra is the epitome of I will do it because I am insane, and she exudes feminism and just like badassery from every pore. Every word she says is just full of power. And then we have Max, who is this sensitive, tortured, closed off sweetie pie. I learned so much from both of them. From him, I learned that it's okay to hope again. And from her, I learned to just project intense confidence no matter what. This is one of my favorite quotes in the whole series. At least I was doing something, unlike Max, who seemed fairly committed to doing absolutely nothing ever. On a particularly cold day, he stepped outside, shivered, looked up at the sky, and declared, "I'm not made for this," before wandering back into the house. I quickly learned that Max was apparently only made for an exceptionally narrow set of environments, temperatures, activities, and interactions. These are two characters that speak to my soul more than almost anyone else does. I'm gonna go get, you guessed it, a matcha, and then we'll come back and discuss Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. A chaotic switch back and forth between book situations, so let's do an update for this one. Somehow I am 270 pages into this book. I blinked and there I was. Her writing is just so bingeable, it speaks to my soul. I cannot give you the exact plot summary for this book because it would spoil the ending of The Mortal Instruments. I can say that this story centers Simon Lewis and also a little bit of Isabel Lightwood, and it also centers the Shadowhunter Academy, which is something we hear a lot about in the main trilogies, but we are finally there. There's been two Victorian London era stories. Actually, one is Victorian Idris. Is that a thing? That's like the Shadowhunters country. We get young Will and Tessa solving a fun murder mystery in the 1880s, and then we switch to 1899 when baby, sweet, shy angel boy James Herondale goes to the Shadowhunter Academy, and it's, I think, the first time Cassie started writing about the Last Hours characters. I have been missing that series so much. I want to be reading it when I'm in London this summer, so I have to read a few more books first. I'm eagerly awaiting it, but I loved getting that little tidbit with the Merry Thieves, and now we're in 1980s Shadowhunter Academy with Robert Lightwood and The Circle when they were young. I realize a whole lot of that isn't going to make sense if you haven't read these books. Basically just lots of familiar characters at the academy, fun school setting, but also there's like some political corruption. I don't know why it's taken me so long to conceptualize the fact that the Shadowhunters government, the Clave, is inherently corrupt. Like, obviously it is, but I think growing up I just thought, well, the characters I love are part of the Clave, so the majority is probably good, but they're not. That's kind of the thing. The majority of Shadowhunters do believe they're the superior race and they have a lot of really prejudiced opinions, and it's these characters that we know that are fighting against their own government. I can't believe I grew up on this. Like, I'm so proud to have an author that taught me how to like stand up for the rights of all people. There's really strong messaging in these YA fantasy books. home stretch for both of these books, sort of. I have 200 pages left in this one and 150 pages left in this one. I didn't realize when I started this vlog that these books were both long. This one is 500 and this one is 650 pages. This era of reading these two books at once has honestly really worked for me, not necessarily because they go well together, but just not that they don't either, but I just love both of them so much. I am definitely gonna finish the series this time around. Sometimes I'll start the first book in a trilogy and just reread it and not finish the series. That's not gonna happen this time. This love story transcends almost all love stories. It's up there with the greats, Percabeth and Everlark, in the way that it's two people who are very good and kind, and they're working through so much heavy trauma together, but it's always them against the problem. It's never them against each other, even though it could be. Our male main character, Max, has been deeply traumatized, which we learn more about as we go, and it always has me like staring at the wall in horror and shock. And his way of healing has been to grow a garden, to grow flowers, and to live isolated. And there's this whole monologue that I just read where he's comparing Tisana to the flowers and like kind of comparing how the flowers have supported him and how she has, and realizing that she is more beautiful to him than any flower. I mean, what is that? That is so magical. That is art. That is positive masculinity. This is not insta-lust. This is the twining of two deeply traumatized souls who see each other in the midst of all of that chaos. And even though their love story is the heart and soul of this book, the world around them is very rich and deep, and it's happening. It's happening to them. It's not like written for them as a setting for their love story. It's very much this like high stakes, intense political world that feels very real. This is one of those books that's just written so well, I can't actually fathom that these are not real people. And I have loved reading tales from the Shadowhunter Academy because of the cameos. Specifically in the last few stories, we're getting Blackthorn sibling cameos. We're seeing baby Julian as he's 1 year into his role of needing to take care of all of his younger siblings. I am itching to read The Dark Artifices. Any day now I will start it. It is the summer series. My brain is switching to summer mode. I need to reread ACOTAR, I need to reread Daughter of No Worlds, and now The Dark Artifices. I don't remember much about this ending, but I remember that it's really a lot and painful. So I'm a little nervous for that. I'm actually going on a road trip today and I will be in the car for 4 hours, so I'm gonna listen to the audiobook, finish this. I'm hoping to finish both, but I might have to listen to the Daughter of No Worlds audiobook. That might throw my reread off. I do really want to start Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It because it comes out today, so I'll probably get that when I'm in Southern Utah. We will see, but as for today, the mission is to finish both of these books. Final update, I've been meaning to say this. Okay, page 26 says, and I quote, "We are gonna slay." This came out in 2015. Were people saying slay yet? Or was Cassandra Clare making that joke ahead of the curve? I'm sure she made it in like the non-Gen Z TikTok brain rot way. Iconic. Guys, I am back home for a day and then I'm going to Montana tomorrow. I did not end up reading very much on my little Southern Utah trip. I went there to help my mom and my grandma, so I probably read like 7 pages. But my mom and I did do a bookstore crawl because Utah just got its first ever Books A Million. You've just seen some clips of me at that store. I loved it. I'd never been into one and it was so new. It smelled so good. If your city has a Books A Million, I am jealous of you because that is now my closest one and it's 4 hours away. I did get some books and I'm gonna do a book haul, but I'm gonna save it for my next video. Right now, we're just gonna finish up my journey with both of these, which honestly, I thought I would finish these over last weekend or maybe by Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday at the latest. It's Friday. I finished them last night, finally. And honestly, these rereads just cemented my love for these stories even more. I would recommend both with my whole body and soul. Of course, I always love Shadowhunters, but I feel like more than anything, Daughter of No Worlds was the standout. Max and Tisana make me feel not only seen, but they also make me want to like go out and live my life more and be braver. They're kind of approaching trauma from two different angles. Hers is this unrelenting brute force, I will change the world. And his is, the world has already changed me and I'm terrified and I'm scared to live again. And I think the way that they heal and grow together in this fantasy landscape is just, it's magical. I also think this is such a great book for if you want to read something in between romantasy and high fantasy with a crumb of romance. This is a very middle ground. The romance is central, but it doesn't distract from the epic plot. It hit harder than it's ever hit. I didn't feel like the pacing issues bothered me at all because I just care so much about the story. It felt very human. It felt very true to real life. As for Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, I did bawl my eyes out while finishing this last night. The standout moments for me with this were Simon as a character and his development with Isabel. And there's a lot of foreshadowing for the Dark Artifices. This is a 5-star. I had the time of my life. And I bumped this one up from a 4.5, because that's what it was when I first read it, to an infinity star. This might be one of the most life-changing fantasy series I have ever read. I feel like this reread week was exactly what I needed, and now I am ready to jump into some new books, some 5-star predictions, and there's been some new releases I'm so excited about. So stay tuned because we will be back next week with another video. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read these. As always, I love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.